Kirk Herbstreit. I forgot Kirk was on today. I didn't even tease him. How stupid am I? So did you, I know you were busy probably down there in the South and stuff. Did you get a look at my Trojans this weekend, bud?
Yeah. And all of a sudden they put up about 700 yards of offense and they're back to being your Trojans?
Yeah, they're my Trojans when they win. They're yours when they stink. So that I'll tell you what, there are certain guys out there. Kevin Sumlin's one of them. I think Sark could be one of them. They're just guys that make quarterbacks very comfortable. Cody Kessler now looks so comfortable in that pocket. What did you take away from it?
Well, I think, again, you know Sark really well, and you've watched Cody Kessler. He's the way Sark would talk about him, he would call him a baller. He played high school basketball. I mean, really good high school basketball. He's undersized at 6'1". He's not your typical Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Matt Castle kind of SC quarterback, but he fits perfectly with what Sark wants to do. He's running this up-tempo stuff. Last week was an exaggeration. They had 105 snaps last week against Fresno. It was a combination of having a lot of success and Fresno also running tempo. So typically they'll run about 80 to 85 snaps. But Kessler got a year experience a year ago. The game is slowing down for him. He's athletic. He's mobile enough to move the launching points. He's just a perfect fit, and it's not shocking at all. He's off to a great start with Sark.
Listen, the last 3 times I've watched Alabama, Auburn, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. West Virginia could catch the ball. They could have won that game. Alabama looks huge. Physically, they're huge, but they don't always look nimble. I wonder, when I look at them, Kirk, I just don't think they're as intimidating in this no-huddle stuff. And I don't think teams are intimidated by them right now. What did you see?
Well, I think that's what you just brought up. Auburn, Oklahoma, West Virginia. The one thing that all 3 of those offenses have in common is tempo. And they've played tempo before. And remember, Texas A&M scored some points on them the last couple of times. A&M scored 42 on them last year, and the year before that when they upset them, they scored more points. So tempo is what everybody's going to try to attack Nick Saban and Kirby Smart with. You're right. They're built. They're big, physical linebacker and defensive line. Their safeties are physical, but they're not built to be out in space against tempo. That's the equalizer now in college football. Oklahoma State did it to Florida State. It's no longer the old Air Force and Navy and Army wishbone attack as an equalizer. Now it's tempo. Get those guys with their hands on their hips. That's how you try to get after Nick Saban, and you don't allow him to have his expertise with nickel and dime formations when he get into third down. He keep that person on the sideline, go tempo, and make them get tired.
Yep, there's absolutely no question is that Nick, no huddle takes a lot of coaching out of it, and that's one of Nick's big advantages. Now, I love this stuff because I thought Florida State almost lost, Alabama was in peril. I love all this stuff. It seems to me, when I look at all these teams right now, Auburn's the most impressive team in the country. I just love what they're doing. Was there a team that jumped out to you that you thought, okay, wow, watch out?
I think you have to be impressed. When I look at, I do this new thing now. They want me to release my top 4 after every Saturday night when Chris and I get done with a game. And I'm looking at it where you eliminate the preseason polls, you eliminate your own agenda, what you thought, and you just go by the results of the first week. Now, understanding that's week 1, and these things are going to change. Everybody's kind of like going crazy about week 1. This team's not as good as I thought. This team's better. The cream will start to rise beginning this week in week 2. But after just 1 week, Texas A&M had to be the most impressive team because they actually went on the road in a hostile environment on Thursday night without a quarterback that had any experience, and they played perfectly. I mean, they executed perfectly offensively with Kenny Hill. So that had to be, to me, the most impressive win. So I would put them up there. If we started with a clean slate, they jumped out. What Auburn did in the second half when Nick Marshall got in there, I thought they were outstanding because I think Arkansas is a better team. And then you just never know with teams like Baylor and USC and, some of these teams that played lesser opponents and just blew them out. We'll learn more about them in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is so exciting. I tell you, I only got about a minute left.
Stanford, USC this week, my friend. We have Michigan State and Oregon. We got a lot of stuff going on out west this week.
Okay, I think Michigan State, they're going to slow it down. I think Michigan State, Oregon goes down to the last minute. I think it's much.
I like it.
I think it's going to be very close. I think Michigan State defensively is for real. And I'll tell you this. I like USC's tempo and their roster and what they can do, but can that young offensive line handle that veteran defensive front of Stanford? I'm not sure.
Well, that's what we're going to find out, is that tempo. Again, we just talked earlier, can that be an equalizer? Remember, Derek Mason was the defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach at Vandy. New defensive coordinator, lost Shane Scove and a number of starters from a year ago. So some new faces on Stanford's defense, but it's going to be exciting to watch Sark and this new offensive SCs with a lot of talent going up against this Stanford defense this weekend.
All right, Kirk Herbstreit, want to have you on the show weekly. We know you're very, very busy. We'll try to pry you out of your grotto.
Anything for you, my friend.
Saturday night, the NASCAR season comes down to Richmond. After 6 grueling months of racing, the playoffs are just a week away. Newman, Biffle, Boyer, and Kyle Larson have one more shot to lock up a spot in the all-new Chase. 43 drivers battle, 16 advance, 1 race to go. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Richmond, Saturday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ABC, presented by AutoZone.